Oh, yeah.
Bless and love, my lords. Welcome to another Meet the Artist powered by Red Lion. We are joined here today, of course, by our wonderful curator, DJ. How's it going, sir?
It's going awesome. That song always makes me smile. How the heck are you, man?
I feel great, man. Yeah, I get pumped. Second show today, Arbitrum, airdrop. Lots are happening.
Yeah. How'd you do in the airdrop? Are you retiring?
Well, not that bad. I was very lucky. I used the network quite a lot. So I'm happy.
Well, I'm glad you didn't say fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. I'm out. So you're still here.
I don't want to say because like people don't get, so it's fine, man. It was good. We got the airdrop. It's Web 3 we feel pumped, but we are more pumped to meet our artist for the week, Chroma Code. What's up, sir? How are you?
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to be speaking on the show.
Welcome, sir. We also have Dudley with us, the co-founder of the project, here on the background on the console and on the hacker. So yeah, we'll pass on the mic to DJ. Let's get on with it. And very, very nice to meet you, Chroma Code. Looking forward to the interview.
Yeah,
Likewise.
thanks, Fred. Chroma, we're going to have a good chat, man. You've been a really interesting and thought-provoking person for me to talk to so far. For everyone that's new to these spaces with Red Lion, just to give you a little bit of background, we in the midst of a 7-week show that I am curating. It's called The Inevitable: Life, Death, and the After, where I'm trying to highlight artists from across the space that have either current art or past art that touches on these themes of life and death and the afterlife. It's something I've always been fascinated by. And I think Chroma's got a good series going now that hits on that. And if you want to get some art from Chroma Code, of course, you can always find it on his foundation page. We'll talk about that. But also this week he is the featured artist in the Gazette. To mint the Gazette, you just need to go to Red Lion, and for $25, you get the NFT of the cover work, which is always awesome, done by our in-house artists at Red Lion, and you also get an art drop from Chroma Code, our featured artist. So it's basically two art NFTs for the price of one, or one cheap one at that, $25. Money from that goes to support all of us and the community at large here at Red Lion. So it's much appreciated. And we'll talk to Chroma about his journey here in art and specifically about this piece. And of course, at any point, if anyone in the audience has questions, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll get you up here, and we'll talk all kinds of cool stuff. All right, Chroma, that's enough talk for me. Let's get you on the mic. Why don't you give us a little bit of background? Oh, and actually, before I move on to that, I just want to let everyone know I pinned a tweet up top that has like a link to the space, but also in the thread, it's got a link to the Mint. It's got a link to See Prophecy, which is Chroma's art drop, which is a glitch piece, which I think is really cool. And also an article we wrote about Chroma Code if you want to know more about him and don't have time to stick around today. So now I'll kick it over to you, Chroma. Like, why don't you? I always start off with this question. Why don't you give us a little bit of a synopsis of your background, your art resume? I know you started off before NFT, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and we can go from there.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I hope you guys hear me well. I'm using my phone speakers today.
You sound great.
Okay, fantastic. To hit on that question. My background, I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer, and I actually started with music. I used to be a guitarist, play shows locally in and around Montreal, and started producing music, engineering some music as well, and somehow led me to making NFTs and now most recently glitch art.
Started off as a musician. I love it. What kind of music?
So mainly I used to play metal, some jazz, blues, that kind of stuff, and kind of like as it went on, I started to do more sound design. And I think, that's a good segue to sort of where I'm at now because, with sound design, there's a lot of hardware and synthesizers to manipulate sounds and distort them, change them, modulate them. And video synthesis is very similar, actually. So I guess like maybe that's I would consider it sort of like an inspiration to where I'm at now, especially considering I do use musical or I guess audio hardware to synthesize and manipulate images.
Yeah, like to me, that's a great description of glitch art. And I'm gonna out myself as a noob when it comes to glitch art. It's something I discovered kind of later in my NFT journey in Web3. And I think there's lots of big names in glitch art in the NFT world now, but you were one of the first that I kind of latched onto after seeing some of your process videos. And like for those of us that haven't watched your videos and aren't that familiar with glitch art, maybe you could walk us through like the whole signal chain and how you use those analog processors to change the signal and to create your art.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible, just so that maybe, it could inspire people to perhaps try glitching stuff on their own. So essentially, my process, I started mixing and synthesizing like VHS tapes and stuff like that, which requires a television, an old CRT TV, right, and a VHS player. And you could actually open up the VHS player and sort of mess with the tape inside as the tape is playing to distort the image. So that's like one way to start, right? Currently, I'm using a lot of AI in my process. So what I do is, first step, I create an AI piece using Midjourney, and because of my background in photography and videography, I learned a little bit how to animate, composite, and photo bash. So I typically sort of make many prompts, right? Put them together, compile them, clean them up. And what I do after is I pass it through the signal chain, like you had mentioned, right? So what I do is I take the image on my computer, I use a HDMI cable, and I pass that through a converter. That converter switches the HDMI, converts it to RCA, which then goes into a modulator and then goes into a CRT TV. Afterwards, it branches out and continues down the signal chain, going to basically a circuit bent modulator. What this does is essentially takes the frequencies and it modulates them. So it's able to capture certain frequencies at a certain range. I don't know the numbers exactly for the range, but what it does is it pinpoints frequencies for you to manipulate. And in this sort of category, I have like guitar pedals, I have circuit bent modulators, I have kill switches, I have a bunch of like sort of hardware that I use to kind of manipulate the images that you guys then see. So one thing that's, I mean, there's two ways to capture, I guess, like the art that you see. You could use a capture card, like you could get an Elgato or whatever the case is. In my case, I actually film it using a Sony A7 IV, which is a fantastic hybrid cinema / photo camera. So what I do is I capture all of the work in S-Log3, 10-bit color, and I end up processing it later in Premiere or DaVinci, whatever the case is.
That's fantastic. I think I understood 90% of that too. So I'm learning here. What is that? What does photo bash mean?
Yeah, so basically, you know how AI works. I assume everybody here knows how Midjourney works. So, you know, you make a prompt and it gives you sort of 4 variations on that prompt. Typically, for one piece, I average maybe going through 12 variations. And what I do is I take the best, maybe 3 or 4 images out of the 12 variations and I combine them together. So, for example, Prophecy, the piece that's available with the airdrop currently right now on the Gazette 131, that piece was created by putting together, I think, 3 variations. So I took the face from one variation and combined it with the head of another and the background of the third. So basically, like, that's what the photo bashing is, like combining the best parts of the chosen images to create one cohesive image.
Man, I love how articulate you are and how excellent you explain everything. I'm curious if you were to describe your whole art in one like concise sentence, how would you describe yourself and your art?
If I were to describe my art in one sentence, um, I mean, I think I would say that it's very personal, and it's 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 very reflective of how I feel at the time. And my glitch art, to me right now, it's very therapeutic. It's, you know, I mean, we're connected like to the internet 24/7 practically. We've sort of become hybrid humans. You know, we have a persona online and we have a persona in real life. So glitch art kind of mixes the two together. You know, I use online elements, I use software, and then I bring it out into sort of the real world, like kind of like in an analog space. And it forces me to like interact with hardware again. And I love the feeling of, you know, manipulating like with knobs and buttons, you know, even hearing the sounds of the TV opening and the noise and the crackling of the volume. And it's very therapeutic, it's very grounding to me. So that explains as to why, like, right now my interpretation of my art is it's a form of therapy that I'm sharing with other people. And that's the way I'd put it.
Mm. I think digital is an amazing medium. It's for sure in my mind the most capable, superior medium. However, like analog devices have a different warmth to them, and the way they allow you to manipulate stuff, and you know the results are pretty unique.
I I totally agree. One of the reasons why I do love working in an analog space is because it just gives me a completely different perspective when I go back to sort of the digital realm. And I love both mediums like so dearly, right? I was born in 1993, so you know, I kind of had like an experience growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, and you know, seeing the way technology has changed things, right, kind of inspired my work. So a part of me is always going to be nostalgic for, I guess, like my upbringing, right? And I
You
think if
barely caught it there. You barely caught it,
I
93.
I barely caught. Yeah, I barely caught it. And it's weird. It's weird to think now that like there was a moment in my life where I didn't have, you know, access to like smartphones, internet. Like, you know, it's people born like in that realm, right? Even if you barely caught it, it's kind of like literally feels like a fictitious time. You know, it's like
I
it never
think the
happened.
most common question little kids do, it's like, what were you doing at home? Or like, I remember I needed to call my mom and I had to call where she was and ask for the phone to be passed to her, you know, and stuff like that.
The days when you'd go to your friend's house and ring the doorbell and, and ask if he's home, you know. Um, Yeah, it's so weird, though. Like I love, though, I still love the digital world and kind of like where we've headed. But I'm also the type of person to never sort of lean to any extreme. So I'm very cautious, right? I think it's our responsibility to self-govern and to sort of bring in, like, I guess, this digital renaissance, and sort of mix it with like real life hardware and stuff like that. We need to be, like, I guess, open to a balance, if that makes sense.
Moderation on all things. I mean, I can't relate like on the art side because I'm not an artist, but I feel that way with music. Like I'm older than pretty much anyone else here. I'm not gonna say how old. No, but no, I'm in my late 40s, and like I remember.
Not old, man. Not that
No,
old.
no,
Come on.
I'm not old. I'm fucking young. No, but like when it comes to NFTs, I feel like everyone's much younger. But just my experience with music, like collecting music, I've always been a collector of many different things. And like first with cassettes, and then CDs, and then like
Yeah,
the
little kids
Renaissance
will
for
never
vinyl.
know how it feels to get a new record, right?
Or to like make a mixtape, there's something about like that process
And
of
give it
going through the
to the
analog.
girl.
Yeah. So like what you're saying, Chroma, I totally understand. Like being able to combine your love for the digital with an actual analog process, and that's super cool. And like for everyone, for your benefit, I posted up on the billboard here a tweet from Chroma that has a video of his process, which I thought was super educational. I didn't realize the signal chains could get that complex, so I recommend you check that out when you get a chance. And we also got a post up there about featuring Prophecy, which is the art drop this week. Chroma, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually use some of your musician like guitar pedals in the signal chain making this one. Is that right?
Yeah, so actually, depending on the piece, I don't use it all the time, but there are occasions in my signal chain where I include an analog circuit guitar pedals, because they're actually able to respond to video frequencies, and what that does, like, obviously a guitar pedal, right, is its intended use is for audio, but you're able to use sort of the pedal itself and the analog circuit to disrupt frequencies. So typically, what a guitar pedal does, especially a distortion guitar pedal, for example, if I plug it into my signal chain, it has the effect of turning everything black and white and completely distorting the image. Like, the image is going to look completely ruined, almost to a point where it's kind of like you don't even know what it was initially you were sort of distorting. Prophecy does not include the guitar pedal in it because it would have been completely like non-distinguishable, right? So I do use my guitar pedals on occasions, depending on the piece. Like it's really, really specific. And whenever I'm creating a piece, I always like, even if the AI piece or whatever it is I'm glitching, even if it turns out really, really good, sort of like out of the box, so to speak, it doesn't mean it'll look good glitched. So before going into any piece, I do extensive testing. I basically like test the limits of the piece using my hardware. I see like what it looks like at its minimum, what I look like at maximum glitch, and it's all testing. And I go back sometimes to the drawing board to sort of change the colors, change the composition, manipulate the contrast on my computer, and then convert it back into my CRT to see if the issues were fixed and if it actually works well with the glitching.
That is a very cool process. I gotta apologize though. I got Trip God up here as a speaker, and I forgot to turn it over to him. He raised his hand. So Trip God, if you're still there,
Hello.
welcome.
hello everyone. Thank you for to allow me to speak to everyone. Hi DJ, hi Chromes. Chrome, I just jump on a question. So I have I seen your video. I discovered you through the DJ post, one of the DJ post. Very cool. So my question is that what is that first idea or thought hit you hard that you create the glitch art, or you can follow that process, because I seen in the video use some hardware to create the glitch in the TV. I seen this process. So what is that first idea or thought hit you hard in your mind to follow that process?
So you're basically asking like what led me to create like the signal chain that I did. Am I correct?
You correct.
Yeah. So basically, like I had mentioned earlier, I came from a music background and a sound design background, so I'm very accustomed to signal chains, right? In audio, when you're playing live shows or you're recording in a studio, typically guitarists, bassists, even keyboardists, they have a signal chain going, and that signal chain contains pedals. So that kind of led me into doing some discovery and research into video synthesis. So that's kind of where I got the idea. I'm like, I don't have time anymore to play music, and I don't have the time I want to engineer anymore like I used to, right? Produce music. So I really love that process. I really love creating signal chains. And because I'm a visual sort of artist now, primarily, I figured why not transfer the knowledge that I had there and bring it into a video format. So that's kind of like what led me down the path. And, being born in 1993 and, having had CRT televisions, like basically around.
It's nostalgic. It's pure like a nostalgia.
Exactly.
So I was born in the 90. So for me, I seen the both era of technology. So yeah, it's like a nostalgic. Who are born in the 90? They understand the TV glitch. Sometimes signal come and goes. So video is fucking so good. Also creating glitch art. So I know how it's difficult, but way Chrome creating, I need to appreciate him. His technique, his process is very different from other. I seen lots of glitch artists, but his technique and everything is so different. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you so much for the question. I really appreciate that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
brother.
thanks for stepping
Thanks.
up, Trip God.
Thank you, brother.
You kids that were born in the '90s, though, you don't realize how hard it was before remotes on your TV. You actually had to get up and go turn the knob. Your mom would throw a shoe
Yeah,
at you.
exactly.
But DJ, there is an argument that you experienced like the golden years of humanity in your prime as well.
Yeah,
So that's also a good.
that's true. That's true. I can say that's true because I seen both era of technology. That TV and VSR, that tape. So I also seen that people are selling the DVD and CD in the black in the market. I seen there are lots of things. Also, Chrome also relative born in 1993.
I mean, I still use, VHS, DVD. I listen to tapes, vinyl. A lot of the technology that I have back home here is like kind of, I guess you could call it old now. But I love the feeling, right? Like I love collecting these kind of things. It looks like a crazy cool spaceship, like in my office with all these things like surrounding me.
Mad scientist. Well, tell us how you got into NFTs in the first instance. Like, how did you jump from film photography into NFTs and glitch in general?
Yeah, so I started actually in it was like 2019. And I started to like sort of hear about NFTs, and like I knew about the crypto market of course, and a lot of the people that like I was surrounding myself with were all into NFTs, or sort of like we're all learning together. Some of those people include Fuck Render, Sean Mundy. Geo Paradiso, a lot of these really, really great artists that I was always in contact with. And I kind of like, they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And in 2019, I was spending a lot of time online and even IRL with some of these people. So it kind of got me into NFTs, and I started minting my photography. And it was kind of the Wild West. I'm sure everyone remembers 2019, 2020 NFT boom. It was the Wild West, really. I was like minting things. I had like different collections back then, and that's basically it. Like ever since then, now like I've learned so much about curation, so much about minting, so much about like contracts. So I would say that I'm at my prime of like of understanding the technology enough to curate it and sort of make everything look clean compared to like what I did back then.
Yes, yeah, but I'm just joining the NFT community so early in this December, last December in 2020. But his journey is too good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you said you're learning how to do contracts. Are you minting on your own contracts now? Well, and you told me before about you had this collection that I think you ended up burning, at least the ones that weren't sold. What was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so basically I burned it because of what I just mentioned. It's essentially that I wasn't happy with the way I curated the project, and I believe that my photography definitely has a place in this market. So what I wanted to do is sort of burn everything I had in the past and bring it all to my Chroma Code moniker, and I will be minting my photography very soon. Most likely on my own contract, because I know you had asked even previously. You said if I do mint on my own contracts, and yeah, I do. I use Manifold primarily for that kind of stuff. But other than that, Foundation is my go-to. I love Foundation's UI. I love the way everything looks on that site, and I love the search engine. I love the way everything works there. So like I kind of gravitate towards Foundation. But yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, well, why don't you tell us about the series you got on Foundation right now, Astral Demons?
Yeah, sure, man. I appreciate you asking about Astral Demons. So it's my latest sort of collection, and this collection it's been 6 months in the making, and there's a total of 12 pieces. However, in reality, there's actually probably about 200 pieces uh, that I never plan on releasing, because for 6 months I've been working on building my signal chain, understanding video synthesis, buying the materials, acquiring old TVs, acquiring all these things, and learning how to glitch. So for 6 months, I've been actually creating a piece every single day. And Astral Demons is the result of trial and error coming together and basically being a cohesive, or I'd say my first cohesive glitch collection. And it's something I'm very proud of. It took me a long time to find my style, a long time to sort of learn how to process this stuff, because like it is still a new medium to me, and it's something that I always want to create a world with a lore akin to Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Lord of the Rings, and that kind of stuff.
Seeing how much you love glitches and appreciate the glitch as art form, are you familiar with Godmin and her work with Heaven Computer and her projects?
I'm not sure. I'd have to see a piece, just because like I'm more of a visual person and I'm so bad with remembering names sometimes.
Check it out, and you can listen to the interview. We also had her in the show. I think it's wonderful, and she's also a glitch artist, and I think her work is mind blowing. Very, very good. You should, if you want to see, check it out. I will send you the links.
I would love to make that connection. Absolutely.
Yeah, I got to give Chroma credit. I think glitch art. I don't know if it's polarizing, but I know some folks in the space don't have like the best view of it. And I posted a tweet, I don't know, about a week ago about who likes glitch art and included one of Chroma's pieces with it. And it generated a lot of conversation. And Chroma, I got to give you credit. Like, you engage with people, you talked about your process. Like, to me, that was super cool. I mean, it's one of the best things about NFTs and like the Twitterverse here is being able to talk to people one on one, even though it's this big open space. So I give you a lot of props for doing that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like, just in general, right? Like, I love sort of the conversation it brings up. I mean, like, I know glitch art is a little bit controversial, and the fact that I do use AI, I know for some people it's also a touchy subject. But the reason why, like, I engage with others and people, and as much as I could, is because it's just simple. I'm just like passionate about like glitch art. I'm passionate about the technology that allows me to create uh, these characters that live in my head, so it's just a matter of being passionate about what I do. So I'm always down to engage with people, no matter how controversial the topic might be.
Yeah, you handled all that well. It was great, and it was educational for me. Yeah, so we've talked about the characters that are in your head and that come to life in the Astral Demons phase. Like, is there more for us to expect here? Or are these characters going to go on stories, or have you thought that far ahead? What's next for you?
Yeah, so I plan, even now, I'm working on a lot of pieces, a lot of sort of like one of ones and collaborative efforts. So right now, I'm trying to finish all that up, trying to consolidate that kind of stuff. Right now, I'm actually, my next few pieces, I don't want to say too much, but they're animated now. Like, they're all animated. Astral Demons is animated to a degree where it's, you know, I basically glitched it on the TV, right? And you could see the colors and the screen and the character kind of like jittering, right? So it's animated in that regard. But what I've been working on is actually animating the characters themselves. So hand drawing characters laughing, or characters like dotting their eyes around, and maybe I'm right now like creating a piece where it's like a pilot who's like blinking and kind of like, worried about what's about to come, and they go into hyperspace, and there's like a vortex they go into. So I'm trying to create basically like really, really animated pieces for the future. I want to challenge myself, and it's all like kind of inspired by, again, 16-bit 32-bit gaming. PlayStation 1 is my console for life, to the heart. So I want to kind of bring that nostalgia into my work now. So that's kind of what's coming up now. And other than that, I'm, like I mentioned at the beginning of the space, I am primarily a photographer and a videographer. So I am working on new pieces in those mediums that I really do plan on bringing to the Chroma Code moniker, only because um, I've taken a hiatus from those mediums, I guess, in the past like few months. But the ideas that I have coming up are, I'm confident, wholly unique, and will definitely raise raise some eyebrows, I guess you could say.
My eyebrows are already raised. That sounds awesome. And you're a glutton for punishment. I think we talked about this offline before, but for folks that don't know, like Chroma cited Dark Souls and Bloodborne for like two of his like largest inspirations for a lot of his work here in National Demons, and those are like two of the hardest video games I think that have come out in the last decade. So if you're playing that on a PlayStation and you're winning, kudos to you. You've got a lot of skills, brother. Uh, who, like in the glitch scene, well, not even necessarily in the glitch scene, but just in NFTs or in real life, what are some artists that you look up to for inspiration?
Yeah, so I was always inspired by I'm sure I mentioned it, Polygon1993. And Claire Silver's been doing like some cool AI stuff, and I've been following like kind of like a lot of these I guess Web3 artists. But in terms of like glitch art and stuff like that, like other than other like I guess artists themselves as individuals, I'm just super inspired by classic movies. I mean, 1979's Alien, just like the opening with all those, right? Like the spaceship, right? On the Nostromo, you got those beeps, those whirs, those weird sounds that those like sort of PVM monitors make, and like I grew up watching those kind of movies. So I mean, every time I watch a film sort of made in the late 70s like and 80s and stuff, you see all these cool technologies, and that's kind of like what really really truly inspired like the whole glitch art direction. Especially I would have to, I'm gonna shout out Radiohead right now, because Radiohead is I would confidently say that they're my favorite band. And Tom York and Johnny Greenwood are excellent musicians, like beyond what I could possibly imagine ever accomplishing in the audio sphere. And their music is very well known, especially during the Kid A and Onward album era, for being very experimental. And they use a lot of hardware to create the sounds that you hear. They use a lot of computers. They use a lot of like audio synthesis. So, I mean, oddly enough, like Radiohead was such a massive inspiration for my glitch art. I mean, just seeing the way these guys sort of create their sounds by manipulating audio frequencies just inspired me to like apply that logic and apply that passion to a video medium.
That's amazing to hear. Like, I'm right there with you. Radiohead's like one of the most talented bands of our time. Do just amazing work, and yeah, I'm not going to go off on a tangent about music too much because I can do that forever. But like what you said about Alien, like I actually rewatched Alien during the pandemic, and like those special effects that they did, I mean, from the late '70s, like they still look amazing. And I think a lot of that is because so much of it was analog. It was like done with suits, done like in real life. It wasn't, the early day of like computer special effects where some of that stuff has not aged well, but like the things in Alien are done so well. And I like Ridley Scott, like fascinating. So yeah, I can see that coming through in your work.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's like analogous to my process, because it's like the way I do my glitch art. I mean, there's so much software out there and plugins and programs that you could use to create digital glitch art, and it looks good. But it's kind of like synonymous to what you had said about the Alien films and Ridley Scott, where I wanted it to be practical is the word that I was looking for. I want my process to be practical. To me, like it kind of just again, like it ties into the therapeutic nature of things, but it also ties into the fact that it's like I'm a very hands-on person, and I'm inspired by obviously the people that I admire, and I want to imitate that, right? As an artist, I want to interpret their process into my own.
I love that. Totally love that. Well, let's talk about a little bit about prophecy and our theme here. Like, I when I curate artists for the inevitable life, death, and the after, I always tell them 100% artistic control with you. be great if you hit on the theme, but it's up to the artists. I don't like to ask them to do anything particular for their art drops. And you had some interesting thoughts, and I'd love for you to share them with the audience here.
Yeah, so I always add lore to my characters based on the way they look, and prophecy, tying into sort of like the inevitable and inescapable ends that are to come for us, right? Like, I mean, prophecy is kind of a character who oversees that, right? It's sort of this character who, like, you can't get rid of this character, even if he's gone in his corporeal form. Like, he still exists as an idea, and that's kind of like what prophecy sort of means to sort of this project. And that's what it is. I mean, more than anything, like whenever there's themes of death, of life ending, of fear, that kind of stuff, it's to me like a reminder to just appreciate sort of just being alive, and then like being with the people like we love and stuff. So I mean, the topic is very dark, but to me, the way I interpret it is just like a reminder to just I guess like appreciate and be happy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man, it is dark, but your take on it, which really resonated with me, was the fact that we do need to appreciate what we have, because anyone could get hit by a bus tomorrow. We got to make the most of the time we have, and appreciate the ones that we have around us, and hopefully those 5 people are inspiring to us. So I really love what you did here with prophecy.
DJ, by the way, I wanted to also let you know, I think it's a good time right now. We had some kind of advisory for our website. And we have a lot of projects and a lot of information, and we did some advisory for optimization, and we got some incredible feedback, and we will be implementing changes to the collections and the art drops, how we are displaying them, the information. So there will be further optimization, and we will elevate the display of each show aesthetically also, and will make everything better for the artists as well.
Love you guys for that. You continuing to improve your product. It's always great.
Yeah, I just thought I should mention, because it's one of those details that will go unnoticed, but like also I feel like it's a better service to the artists and the audience and everybody. I think it really matters at the end of the day. But yeah, excited for it, and it will only get better.
Is awesome. Well, we talked a little bit about AI, but I did want to circle back to that with you, Chroma, because I think you're in the camp that I'll put myself in, and like I'm a fan of AI. I think it's the future. There's really no turning back. The Pandora's box has been opened, but you raised some issues which I thought were pretty insightful, and that was how to use AI, differently than we've used technology in the past, and learn from that. And I was curious, one, if you could just share kind of your views on that, but two, how you do that in your day-to-day use of AI, and how you think it's best for artists and anyone really who's playing with AI at this stage, or utilizing AI in their workflow to make sure they're using it appropriately.
Yeah, so AI is very powerful technology, and without sounding too cheesy, right? Like Spider-Man kind of quote, right? Like, with great power comes great responsibility. That kind of cheesy stuff. By the way, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, best movie ever. So just bringing that up, like, we do have to be careful. I do think that technology right now, okay, is advancing at a speed that of which we were never prepared for. There's no humane way, like there's no way that we are prepared for what's to come. Like, and I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I mean, like, I love the technology. I use AI myself, but we have to come to terms with the reality in that we could potentially reach a point of singularity. Now, what that means is essentially, in layman's terms, we're going to be advancing. Technology is going to be advancing at a speed that of which we can't keep up, and everything is going to be accelerating to the point where we're going to see sort of this mass shift in things. Right? I remember when smartphones came out. Right? Like, from the point where I was using like dial-up internet to smartphones, felt really quick. Right? And now, like, we're at a point where it's like advancements of technology that we had that would take 10 years to get to the point they were at could now happen in 2 years, you know? And I'm still trying to cope. I'm still trying to cope with the world being like so online, so connected. It is wild to me. Like, I blink and I think of my childhood playing like Mario Kart with my buddy, and like, there was nothing else to do other than to watch The Simpsons every night, and that kind of stuff. And like, to me, it's kind of scary to think. And now we're reaching a point where this is multiplying, like the speed is multiplying. So I do think that now that we've opened Pandora's box, so to speak, I think we just have to be responsible with this technology. We have to learn sort of collectively what smartphones did, what Web 2 did, and we have to sort of consolidate and sort of be responsible. Right? We have to just find these balances that I think are really important. We have to find them now, and I mean, that's just me speaking. And I'm not, again, like, I'm not fear mongering or anything like that. I've been using AI, and you mentioned in the article, like, I've been using ChatGPT since its infancy, Stable Diffusion, Mid Journey, all during their infancy phases. And I've been using it, and like, I kind of know, if there's one thing I learned, is that they are accelerating at a pace that, like, my brain can't handle. That's for sure. So that's basically it. Yeah, I think we just have to move forward, um, and be responsible. We have to just be cautious, one foot in front of the other, and try not to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, the overwhelming part is something I'm trying to deal with. Like, your analogy to smartphones, I think is spot on. I mean, like, the how that changed how we behave, with each other, our level of humanity and like contact with each other was huge. And I feel like we're all underestimating the rapid growth of AI and how it's going to impact our daily lives. I mean, like, I don't know who uses ChatGPT here, but the difference between version 3 and version 4 is like mind blowing. And I'm not a Midjourney user. I mean, I've played around with it a little bit, but like, talking to artists, like, the difference between version 4 and 5 was like another huge leap. And these versions are rolling out every few months, and it's something I think we all need to learn how to utilize and work into not only our daily lives, but into our workflow, whatever it is it might be, or you're just going to get left behind. But it's just one of those things. Hopefully the AI doesn't turn on us, but I won't be a fear monger either. But I think we really need to embrace it, and it's going to increase our productivity and our ability to be creative.
Yeah, that's my hope as well. I really do think that there's an opportunity for us to find ways to implement AI that just make our lives a lot better. And it's, look, I mean, like anything else, just technology in general, it's a double-edged sword. We just have to make sure that we don't get cut, and that's basically it.
Don't catch that falling knife. Well, this has been a great conversation, man. I do want to give you a chance to sum up here, but before we do that, if there's anyone else that wants to come up, talk about AI, art, glitch, or ask Chroma questions, now's a good time. I'll also make a plug again for the Gazette. If you meant this week's, you also get Prophecy, which is the art drop Chroma was talking about. I think it's a pretty dope glitch art piece that hits on our themes of enjoying this life, because it all ends at some point. We don't know what lies beyond. All right, Chroma. Any last thoughts you'd like to leave us with? I know you mentioned some projects that you can't say too much about, but maybe you can tease us about when that might be, when we can expect to see more from you.
Yeah. There's going to be some stuff dropping very, very soon. Like I had mentioned, just to recap, I have some collaborations that are going to be dropping within the next week or so. Other than that, I'm working on new animated glitch pieces, one of ones, and I'm excited to share more of my photography and performance art with everybody in the space that's recently been supporting my new endeavors. If I were to sum up everything, like I just simply want to relay like a message to everybody listening and not listening. I just really genuinely appreciate everyone for just like supporting my work, like just looking at it with your eyes, it means the world to me. I never thought that, I'd have people ever digging my stuff, always, I guess, that imposter syndrome and kind of like just the way my mind works of never feeling like I'm enough. But, if there's one thing I could say is honestly, thank you so much, everybody. And, thanks guys for the opportunity, for allowing me to speak and just, express myself. It's really fun. I don't do spaces often, and I think this was like a really nice experience, and I'm very, very grateful for it.
Dude, I love the sincerity, and you got it. Like, I love your art. I know a lot of people in the audience love the art. So thank you for continuing to make it, and thank you for giving us your time today. And many thanks to everyone in the audience too. Really great to see a lot of familiar faces and some new faces. So appreciate you coming out, supporting Redline, supporting our artists, Chroma Code. And before we sign off, I'll hand the mic back to Red here.
Oh no, nothing from me. Just to say, special love and blessings to Chroma Code. I really enjoyed this talk. It was incredible to hear him talk about glitches and his art, and now I'm more like familiar with what he does. And great chat.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thanks so much, Chroma.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, everyone else, thank you much for your time and your support here. We will see you around the Twitterverse and on Redline. Hopefully we can get some outro music here so I can dance my way out of this room. But love you all. Talk soon.